Welcome to Facts to Relax, a quiet space to gently set down the weight of your day. Whatever has followed you here, you don't need to carry it any further. Let your shoulders soften, your jaw gently loosen, and your breath begin to slow, just a little. There is nothing to solve right now, nowhere to rush to, and nothing expected of you. Just listen and allow each word to meet you where you are. With every moment, let the noise fade as your body begins to unwind and your mind grows calm and still. Tonight, you are safe to rest, safe to drift, safe to simply be. So settle in, take a slow, gentle breath, and let's begin. Leonardo da Vinci, a name that drifts through history like a quiet current, steady, endless, and full of wonder. He was born in the spring of 1452 in a small countryside town called Vinci, nestled among rolling hills, olive groves, and soft winding paths. The world he entered was simple, rural, and slow-moving. There were no signs yet that this child would one day become one of the most curious minds in human history. Leonardo was not born into wealth or power, but into something perhaps more valuable: freedom. He was the illegitimate son of a notary, which meant he was not bound to follow a strict family profession. Instead, his life unfolded with space, room to observe, to wander, to wonder. As a boy, he spent long hours outdoors, watching the movement of water, the flight of birds, the patterns of clouds drifting overhead. He noticed everything: the way light touched a leaf, the way shadows stretched across the ground, the delicate structure of a flower. These quiet observations would stay with him for the rest of his life. At the age of about 14, Leonardo was sent to Florence, a city alive with art, craft, and creativity. There, he became an apprentice in the workshop of Andrea del Verrocchio. It was a place filled with motion, the scent of paint and wood, the sound of chisels, brushes, and voices exchanging ideas. Leonardo learned quickly, not just painting, but sculpture, engineering, and design. He was not satisfied with simply copying what he saw. He wanted to understand it. Why did muscles move the way they did? How did light bend and scatter? What made water swirl and flow? These questions became a quiet rhythm in his mind, always present, always guiding him deeper. Over time, Leonardo began to create works of his own. His paintings carried something different: a softness, a sense of life beneath the surface. He studied human anatomy carefully, patiently, sometimes in secret. He wanted to capture not just the appearance of the human form, but its essence, the subtle curve of a smile, the quiet emotion in a glance. One of his most famous works, the Mona Lisa, is known for this very quality. Her expression is calm, yet mysterious, still, yet somehow alive. People have spent centuries wondering what she is thinking, what she might say, if she could speak. But Leonardo himself may have simply been exploring the quiet space between emotions, that soft place where certainty fades and imagination begins. He worked slowly, sometimes very slowly. Years could pass, while he returned again and again to a single piece. Not because he lacked discipline, but because his curiosity was endless. There was always more to refine, more to understand. Leonardo was not only a painter, he was an inventor, a thinker, a quiet observer of the natural world. He filled notebooks with sketches, thousands of them, drawings of machines, flying devices, bridges, and gears, ideas far ahead of his time. Some of them would not be fully realized until centuries later. He imagined humans soaring through the sky, long before airplanes existed. He studied the wings of birds, the currents of air, the balance between lift and gravity, always watching, always learning. His notebooks were not written in the usual way. He often used mirror writing, from right to left, a quiet habit, perhaps for privacy, or simply the natural flow of his hand. Inside those pages, you can almost feel his mind at work. Questions, observations, ideas unfolding like gentle waves. Leonardo moved between cities, Florence, Milan, Rome. Each place offered new opportunities, new challenges, new moments to observe. In Milan, he worked for the Duke, designing not only artworks, but also machines, fortifications, and even grand celebrations. He saw no boundary between art and science. To him, they were simply different ways of understanding the same world. When he painted, he studied anatomy. When he designed machines, he studied nature. Everything was connected. He once wrote that learning never exhausts the mind. And for Leonardo, this was deeply true. Even later in life, his curiosity did not fade. It softened, perhaps, but it never disappeared. In his final years, he spent time in France, invited by the king. There, he lived more quietly, reflecting, organizing his thoughts, and continuing his gentle exploration of ideas. He carried with him some of his most treasured works, including the Mona Lisa. It remained with him, not as a finished product, but as something still alive, still evolving. Leonardo da Vinci passed away in 1519, but in many ways, his presence never left. His ideas, his sketches, his way of seeing the world, continue to ripple outward, even now. He reminds us that curiosity can be quiet, that observation can be powerful, that there is beauty in simply noticing the curve of a leaf, the motion of water, the softness of light at the end of the day. Leonardo did not rush. He did not confine himself to one path. He allowed his mind to wander, to explore, to rest in questions rather than answers. And perhaps there is something deeply calming in that, to move through the world, not with urgency, but with gentle curiosity, to let each thought arrive and drift, like clouds across a quiet sky. And as his story slowly settles, you may notice your own thoughts beginning to soften, slowing just a little, like the steady hand of an artist resting between brush strokes, like pages in a notebook, waiting patiently for the next idea to appear. And in that stillness, there is space. Space to rest, to breathe, to simply be. Just as Leonardo once did, watching the world with quiet wonder. As this moment comes to a close, there is nothing more you need to do, nowhere else you need to be. Let your breathing become soft and steady, slowly in and gently out. With each breath, feel your body growing heavier, more relaxed, more at ease. Let your shoulders sink, your face soften, and your whole body rest comfortably, supported and still. If your thoughts begin to wander, simply return to your breath, calm, steady, quiet. Allow the day to drift away like a distant memory, fading further with every exhale. And as you continue to rest here, you may find yourself gently drifting toward a deep, peaceful sleep. So take one more slow breath and let yourself drift softly into rest.